Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the IGP Super Formula Lights Round 8, Season 2 of 2024 from the Circuit de Barcelona or Catalunya. I am James Palmer, going to be joined in the booth by one Mr. Ewan O'Leary. He is back this week. Although not 100%, he is here with me in the booth to bring us all the action here this evening as well. It's going to be very interesting. Stay tuned for this one. It is 13 corners, 4.68 kilometres and times of 1 minute 30 on the clock at the moment. That is the best time in this qualifying session set by Lee Aberdeen. We got 30 laps here this evening. Purple zone goes right the way out to turn 9. So if you're looking at the track map, that is literally the point or the triangle in the middle, and that is where they will be able to go racing full bore here this evening. Let's bring you up to date with the championship standings. We've applied one drop week. Lee Aberdeen is out in front with that drop week on 2.42 with Brent Ruiz on 2.32. Then we got Luca Verani on 2.29 with Antonio Jimenez on 2.28 and Jakub Oleszwinski on 2.23. Andy Flint and Raheem Hakim have tied on 2.09, and then in 8th is Tommy Murray on 1.93. Evan Way on 1.86 with Simon Frelich on 1.81. Dennis Cornu in 11th on 1.75 with Simon Fessi on 1.69. Then we got Marcis Putnieks on 1.57, Mackenzie Roon on 1.51 and Will McIntyre on 1.45. Taking you further down to 20th at the moment, Nicholas Westman on 1.41, Pedro Suarez 1.38, Zoltan Samata 1.34. Then we got Eddie Amos and João Aguilera. That is your top 20. We won't do the whole of the standings because there's about 117 of them that have scored points this season, and that would just take us a very long time. But we can welcome in Mr. O'Leary into the booth. Ewan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right, thanks. Doing better than I sound, which is good. But really glad to be back on IGP. Feels like it's been ages actually since I've been here. So very good to be back again, and glad to see that it's still close between those who are going for a championship here this season, especially. We only saw the standings with one drop week applied there, but they'll have two by the end of the season. And currently, Lee Aberdeen and Rain Hakim are very close in terms of how they're running with two drop weeks at the moment.
Yes, if you apply two, there is literally only 2 points between Lee Aberdeen and Raheem Hakim. In the rookies, of course, it's Tommy Murray out in front of 2.57, a long way ahead of Alexis de Klerk and Don Lee. And in the 2.5K at the moment, Oscar Artinano is leading with Giovanni Solito in second, João Aguilera in third, and then Chris Trott is in fourth, not too far back at all. In the overall teams, Modern Racing Prince GP are out in front with XPD Racing in second. JPFun 67, is in third. Now, obviously, if we apply that drop week, that switches it on its head, and Modern Racing Prince is still first, but it is Delta Sport who jumps up to in second with XPD third and JPFun 67 in fourth. Hydro Race Racing Forces then become in fifth place. It's getting towards that crunch time now as well, that very end of the season here, and it's all getting very close at the moment.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a great thing. I mean, we've always had that in the IGP, to be honest. It's very rarely set up before the final round, so glad that that's going to be the case here as well. Mainly as well because the drivers at the front, like Lee Aberdeen, have actually had some bad rounds this season. So sometimes what we see is a really good season, a really consistent season from whoever's at the top, and you can never get them back again because the amount of points you have to be behind them going into the final round is so close that it's difficult to manage. But this time round, it won't be quite so close, especially if Brian Hakim is leading the championship going into the final race. A lot of drivers will be in with a chance because he's got some 0-point scores to his name.
Yeah.
So far this season. So he will, or we'll see who's still in contention by the end, but it's looking good on that front, and hopefully that will remain the case until the end of the season, which is now 5 weeks away.
Yeah, not long at all. Not long at all. Welcome in if you are here. Don't forget to say hi, like, subscribe, turn on the bells, and do all that other fancy jazz. We are pushing north of 1,900 subscribers. We are not too far off the 2K, so let's see if we can get there before, let's make a deal, before, where are we in May? End of June. Let's go with that one, just to see if we can get the channel there before then. We've got a few drivers still out on their laps at the moment, and literally we have only got 3 with Rishi Taparia and Tony Jimenez still out on the race circuit there on their laps. So I'm sure we'll get this up and running very, very soon, as Tony Jimenez from the XPD Racing 1 team is still out on the race circuit. I think this one could be very close. Catalunya, for us, at times, as the racing's been meh, do we expect there to be competitive racing here this evening? Because we have been here a few times at other series, and it's not been overly great.
I mean, I think it's going to be okay. The speed of these cars on the straights, I think, means that there will be a lot of slipstreaming chance. However, the other problem is they can brake so late in some of these corners. Turn 10 less so, but especially turn 1, which is not especially a sharp corner. Saw in the just preceding us going on air here, someone entering turn 4 at quite a speed. Barely touching the brakes, indeed, on the way in. So that could prove to be a problem. Hopefully, though, we see a good close race.
Yeah, here is the grid. Lee Aberdeen is on pole with Nicholas Westman in 2nd, Brent Ruiz in 3rd, then Andy Flint in 4th. Evan Way in 5th, Tony Jimenez 6th, Raheem Hakim in 7th, Jacobo Lozwinski in 8th, Luca Varani in 9th, with Pedro Suarez on 10th place. Rishi Taparia in 11th, and then Joel Aguilera down in 12th. Moving on from that one, Clark Williams in 13th, Alexis de Klerk 14th, Chris Trott 15th, Zoltan Zamota 16th, Dennis Cornu 17th, Tommy Mare 18th, Marcis Putnieks 19th, and Simon Fessi down in 20th, Eddie Amos 21st, Koji Ito 22nd, Donnelly 23rd, and Jeans Carvalho in 24th. Marcello Kessler 25th, Irvin Sumakers 26th, John McKenzie in 27th, Maximilian Gerber in 28th, then Merrick Otlov is 29th, and Adam Talmsworth in 30th. Then we got Giovanni Salito, Patrick Rowlands, Oscar Artinanu, Matthew Gracie, Nick Carty, and Thomas Peter in 36th place there. We've still got some more to go. Dorian Orujo, Matt Brewer, Reno Scatini, and Patrick Williams round out the 40-strong field again. 40 cars again at Catalunya. Ewan, surely nothing could go wrong, right?
Well, it will now you said that, but you will hope to get through the first few corners all right. The fact that we do have purple zone to start should help us get through the opening lap.
Yeah, well, here we go, guys. The lights are on. Lee Aberdeen is on pole. Now we're going to go, and the lights are off. It's all about what's going to happen here and whether or not these drivers are going to be able to make it. Don't forget, purple zone, no active overtaking through turn 9 as these guys go running down into turn 1. The right-hander, we've got a right, then we've got a left, and then we've got a long looping turn 3 before we go into Repsol turn 4. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. Can Lee Aberdeen get away here? That's going to be the question. He wants to try and escape here, and really, if he can. But I can tell you what, Nicholas Westman, keeping him honest at the moment.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I mean about the slipstream. It can keep you very close in these cars around a Grand Prix circuit like this one, and especially because they have to be single file at a certain point in this opening lap, they will be able to stay a bit closer, because when you're single file you can get more of a cut of the slipstream than you would if you were side by side. So it's going to be about staying close to Aberdeen, but on early evidence the Australian is really starting to pull this margin out already to over half a second.
Yeah, he has Nicholas Westman in second, last season's champion Brent Ruiz in third. Andy Flint has tucked in with Evan Wade as an overtake with Tony Jimenez. He's just lost that position to Raheem Hakim, has just gone through. Jakub Oleszwinski nestling in behind him. Luca Varani there for the JPBroadcasting 67 in that purple, yellow and white machine we've come accustomed to over the last 4 seasons. I think we've been here now. Joe Aguilera in 10th there, and then further down we've got the likes of Dennis Cornu, Chris Trott, Tommy Mare, Marcis Putniks and Simon Fessi with Eddie Amos. Eddie Amos in that bright green livery. Just looks absolutely Tron-based livery. Absolutely love it. But Brent Ruiz is under attack here. He's trying to go up the inside of Westman. Is he going to be able to make it through? Westman wants to run wide. He wants the inside line. I think Ruiz is going to get it here. Ewan Ruiz has got through on Westman. Andy Flint and Evan way behind that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean about the slipstream. It really can affect you down in towards turn number 1, and Ruiz has been able to capitalise on that. But this circuit isn't going to be a draft track where that's all that you need. You need speed through the corners as well. And so Ruiz will hope to have that to try and close in on Lee Aberdeen. If they don't start doing that soon, he will get away with the race win, and he won't be seen by anybody ever again in this race as the battle for 10th continues, or 9th, excuse me, continues here.
Yeah, Joe Aguilera and Luca Varani running side by side at the moment here. Varani does end up slotting in behind. I think Joe Aguilera did just get Varani on that one. Clark Williams tucked him right behind him here. He's waiting patiently for his opportunity. He's going to look up the inside or the outside of Pedro Suarez. He's going to give Suarez room, I believe. If we look to the left, then we should have Pedro Suarez there for the Hydro Race Racing Forces. He's trying to run around the outside. Not going to make it through. And then Clark Williams does grow through. Great speed from Clark on that one, but Suarez not giving him up. And this is where we expect it all to change here in this run down this long start finish straight down into turn 1.
Yeah, and the removal of that chicane as well should help in terms of overtaking. Just allows you to get on the slipstream at a higher speed a little bit earlier, and keeps you a bit closer as well. There's a look from Flint down the inside, for example. It's all going to happen in that second group from 9th on backwards, though. It's a Motta and Taparier side by side in towards turn 1, and it's a Motta who makes his way through. So good early action here, but it's only early on, as Flint is going to have another look at Westman here into turn 4, and this time he's alongside.
Yeah, he does. It looks like Flint's going to take that inside line through turn 4. Westman's now got a look. Flint slightly covers him off there. Evan Way's in the mix as well. Mr. Consistency last season. Not had the greatest of starts to the season, but to be honest, he hasn't been at all bad either. Raheem Hakim going in through turn 7. Now he's going to jink to turn 8. The run up into the fast right-hander of 9. Slight little lift. Get the car hooked up and then get on your bike, son, because that is what they're doing here as they're running from 9 down into 10. What do you think here as well with some of these cars? You know, we draft every single time. You know, we've got our obviously race notes from Luca as well. Tyres shouldn't really be an issue compared to Hungary, but it has been down to 15% in a race stint. The previous one was 45, so not sure what happened there. Long story short, tyres not an issue unless abused. For instance, spinning, lock-in. If drivers are having problems, you will see them possibly drop into second in the slow right-hander. 3 corners from the end. That is turn 11. Turn 4 is a right corner where you can lose a tenth or 2, or with a worn front left. So it seems like tyres could be an issue as Andy Flint and Westman swap places once more here, Ewan. But I think a lot of it is dependent on what stress you put on the tyres.
Yeah, exactly, and that suggests to me that you know, in my mind, I would put tyres are a problem in that case, because if you have to take care of them, then they are a problem, in my opinion. But there you go. It's just the way that Luca drives, I suppose. It doesn't necessarily befall him very much, because he's a very smooth driver. But if you are too aggressive, then you can see it becoming a problem. I mean, it's not surprising. There's lots of high-speed corners around this circuit where you're putting a real high load into the tyres, and you can't really afford to do that too often. Otherwise, you'll be shredding your tyres to pieces, and you've got to make sure that you stay away from that. And also, watch out for the rain, which we're supposedly told has got a small chance of falling at some point today.
Yeah, 15% chance of rain we're supposed to have here. The weather at the moment, track temps 22 degrees, 19 degrees air temperature as well. I've also been made aware that it's a really horrible crosswind out on the circuit as well. So they're going to have to be a little bit careful, because that crosswind can play a little bit of a problem as it hurtles round the racetrack here. Ewan, as much as possible, you would want there's no way of getting static wind, but you get what I mean. But you certainly don't want it hurtling across the racetrack.
No, not really. As we see Brent Ruiz down the inside, that was a pretty easy pass in the end. His race pace is looking very, very strong here, Brent Ruiz, as he makes his way past Lee Aberdeen. But yeah, it'll be something to watch out for. It always is in these cars. They're so light, our open-wheel Formula cars like this one. They can be blown around so easily by the wind that you've got to be wary of wherever it's coming from when it's at a strength that it is today. It's not exactly gale force wind, is it? It's just enough to affect these cars.
Yeah, Evan Way's looking up the inside of Andy Flint at the moment. Flint on the right-hand side there. Evan Way in the 92 as you look at the machine in the on your screen on the blue and white. He manages to go through on Flint, and then he slows him down again. Hakeem's going to have a go around the outside if he can. I've got a funny feeling, Flint was lucky there. He could have quite easily lost 2 for 1 in that one, and that's just literally by the fact that of where Evan Way went up the inside of turn 7. Hakeem and Flint still swapping backwards and forwards. Hakeem does make it round the outside. Is he going to run it round the outside all the way? It looks like he is. He's going to have the inside for that turn 11, and through he goes. So Hakeem up 1, Andy Flint loses 2 in about half a lap.
Yep, and he's got to make sure that doesn't continue, because there's a right queue behind ready to take over here. Now, Hakeem took a bit of a compromised line into the final corner there, so as he pulls to the right-hand side here, I think he's going to be under big pressure towards turn number 1.
Yeah, he's trying as hard as much as he can at the moment, trying to defend. He manages to hold on. What's happening behind Flint with Jimenez? Jimenez is now trying to go up the inside. He's not. He's got his teammate Joel Aguilera. They're going to go. Oh, hold it. No, he didn't hold it for Andy Flint. And was that a mixture of 3 into 1 just don't quite work there, Mr. O'Leary, I think?
It may well have been. I think there may be a bit of netcode involved too as well, by the way.
Massive. Not a little bit. That was huge.
But to be fair, I don't think the car on the outside was particularly playing too much of a role in that. It wasn't coming down and squeezing either of the cars on the inside. However, there was a car on the inside there and was slightly off the road at a point as well. I wonder whether it would have been smarter to back out of that one instead of going down the inside there.
Yeah, Clark Williams now on Tony Jimenez. He's looking up the inside into turn 10. He manages to make it through, I think, on that one. I don't feel Jimenez is going to be able to try and run him. He is running him, trying to go round turn 11. Clark Williams and Tony Jimenez side by side at the moment. Still there, and Jimenez does make it through. But now we've got this long, fast run straight the way round from turn 11 all the way round 12. In through 13 we've gone. Now we're going down that start-finish straight as well. No push to passes on the Super Formula lights, unlike their big brothers, the Super Formulas. And you can see there Clark Williams alongside Tony Jimenez there. Is he going to be able to make it through? Williams looks like he's got the job done. Is he going to be able to hold it, though? That's going to be the question. He comes across, he does. And now we've got Luca Varani snapping at the heels of Jakub Oleszewski there. And this little battle is quite weird, because what I've noticed over the last couple of laps is they've got people in the mix like Evan Way. Then he's cleared the battle. He's pulled away. Hakeem's then come through the pack. He's cleared away. Clark Williams is now trying to open up the gap as well. So it seems like whoever gets to the front of this pack with everybody else battling behind him, they are able to seem to get away from them at the front.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think that just highlights the importance of Hakeem's overtake not so long ago, where he was able to take 5th place and get away from this, because imagine if he was still embroiled in this, he could lose a lot of points today if he wasn't careful. So he did a good job to get out of this battle because there's a lot going on. There's Aguilera down the inside and up to 11th. But yeah, it's just constant battling in this group.
Yeah, Marcy's putting the X in Dennis Cornu, battling away there. Eddie Amos in that bright green livery. He's trying to close him down. The problem is he's got Jean Carvial behind that with Marek Otlovs, Owen Sumakins, Don Lee and Marcello Kessler is down there in that one. And we've also got a battle down here with Reno Scattini, Matthew Gracie just about to go up the inside, I believe, with Patrick Rowlands as well. They're all the one round the other side of the circuit from the leaders. They're on the round through turn 12. But it just goes to show that they're battling all the way through the field. The leaders are Brent Ruiz has lost that place to Lee Aberdeen. Lee Aberdeen, I've got a funny feeling this is going down into turn 1. It is. He takes the inside line. He's going to carry more speed through the inside. It'll have him cut his nose by the time he gets out of the exit of turn 2, which is what he does do. Is that going to be a continual motion here this evening with Lee Aberdeen, Brent Ruiz? Lee Aberdeen, Brent Ruiz. Is it just going to be swapping backwards and forwards, do we think? And how important is it going to be that they're in that lead going into that final lap?
It may be a swapping around between the two, but I don't think it's going to be sort of rhythmic in terms of one lap after the other. I think it's going to be all tactical here, and they're going to be deciding on just that. Do I want to be in the lead going on to the final lap here, or do I want to be in second position? To be honest, I think it's anybody's guess at this stage which one you want to be in. I think he can win from either first or second going on to that final lap.
Yeah, Brent Ruiz going once more here. He's trying as well. This is where the closure speed's going to come into it. You can see they go over the line. Aberdeen's made his one move. He's got no choice. Where are you going to go? He's going to put it on the outside. There is Aberdeen there. There's Brent Ruiz. Is Ruiz going to run him, or are they going to go side by side? They're going to go side by side. Ruiz gets the job done. Has he closed off Aberdeen? That's going to be the question. He hasn't. Aberdeen's come back at him. Now on the run round turn 3, Aberdeen's going to have 3, but if Ruiz can stay there, he's going to have the inside for turn 4 at the moment. No, you're right. I was wrong. Aberdeen did have the inside for turn 4, and he gets the job done. But then we've got Clark Williams, Jakub Oleswinski, Tony Jimenez, and Luca Varani are battling out at the moment. And I believe Tony is practically alongside us. There he is as well, with Jakub Oleswinski on the right-hand side.
Yeah, and this is helping Westman and lots of others get involved as well. I think it could be a big group for the lead if we're not careful very soon, as Clark Williams is meanwhile doing exactly what you were talking about earlier on, getting away from this group, which is starting to decrease in size finally. Now for 7th place, as Olszewski tries to hang on ahead of Tony Jimenez on home soil, and Luca Varani, who's going down the inside into turn 10 here.
Oh, he's going to try it over Jimenez. He's not going to get through. Do you know there's one common denominator out of all of this, what's gone on over the first 9 laps, and that is the fact that everybody who's cleared Tony Jimenez has gone on to open gaps up on him, and that's been the common theme. That's not me putting Jimenez down. That is what has happened. Everybody that has cleared Tony Jimenez have moved their way forward. Clark Williams is doing the same thing now. I'm expecting Jakub Oleswinski to open up the pack. And then we've got Joel Aguilera in there. Pedro Suarez going side by side with Luca Varani coming into turn 1. He's going to get through there. But that's the common denominator, is the fact that Tony Jimenez, once he loses the position, he can't do anything. He just doesn't seem to be able to do anything about it. They just pull away. You can see Oleswinski's up the road now as well. So for Jimenez, if he's struggling at this circuit, how far down can he be by the end of the race if everybody's just going to come up and start making moves on him?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be too bad for him. I think he'll still finish inside the top 10, because I think he'll be thinking about his tyres a little bit at this stage, to be honest. I think he'll be holding something back for a little bit later on, and I think he'll have a good ending to the race, especially because the gap from 12th to 13th is just under 6 seconds. I mean, that's not a gap that he's going to fall through. Admittedly, he is starting to be the head of the train again here, but he's not going to fall much further than 12 if he even gets there.
Well, I've got to. I'll tell you what, Pedro Suarez makes it through. I'm going to very much doubt that Jimenez is going to be able to hold on. I think Suarez is going to almost come across, take that line away. What is Joel Aguilera going to do? Because obviously he's in the same team as Jimenez. Is he going to make a move on him? If he's slowing him down, he's got to make a move on him, surely. And that's the thing. It has been everybody's cleared Jimenez. Jimenez has just gone backwards, and he's doing the same thing again. I'm expecting Suarez to try and open up that gap. If he allows Jimenez to try and take the inside, though, he could be in trouble. They're going to run side by side through turn one. Nope, Suarez does make it through. Jimenez then slows up Aguilera. Aguilera has now got Luca Varani for company, so Luca Varani trying to pressurize Aguilera here. And at the moment, Tony Jimenez is not doing his teammate any favours currently.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, he's just got it.
Oh, there's contact there. Well, they've just about got away with it, but you wonder if the teammates could have worked together a bit better than this. Now Aguilera's on the outside and will be through, but that took ages. And I think it should have been done a lot earlier when it was clear Jimenez was struggling to get Aguilera ahead. Now Aguilera's probably lost a lot of time as a result.
And that's the thing, Luca Varani there as well. Leon, thank you so much for your nice comments in YouTube chat. Much appreciated on that one, as we have just watched Tony Jimenez lose another position to his teammate and Pedro Suarez over the last course of a lap. And it's now down on Luca Varani, and whether or not Alexis de Klerk is going to make a move here. Let's check in with the leaders of Brent Ruiz and Lee Aberdeen. They're still running out in front onto that start-finish straight. Here we go again with this, what we are expecting to be another move coming down into turn one. If he's going to be able to make it through, he's pulled out. He doesn't even look like he wants to be in the lead at the moment with 18 laps to go here, Brent Ruiz. There was no aggressive body language of the car to sit back and make Lee Aberdeen think he was going to make that overtake.
No, and I think the previous battles have sort of given way to that train of thinking here. He thought, well, I got close to overtaking him on the final lap. I'll try a bit hard. Well, maybe not on the final lap, but towards the end, I'll be able to try a bit harder, be a bit more aggressive, and I'll get him towards the end. The other thing they've got to think about is those three behind who are starting to draft off one another now. And if, excuse me, if they fought too hard, these two, they would allow the three behind involved. And when you're in a group of 5, it's a lot more difficult to win than when you're just in a group of 2, like they are at the moment.
Yeah, we'll find out here as this goes on, and that's what Lee Aberdeen is looking back at now. He's got Brent Ruiz pressurising him considerably here, and going through turn 10, they're on their way through turn 11. Looking back, we're going to see Ruiz start closing us up now as the draft's going to come into effect. You can see it on the left-hand side, 3.5 temps, and he's only going around the final corner. Now he's coming down on us. He's going to be looming down. 3 temps. He's going to get that down. At least a few more gaps here before we go down into turn 1. 2.5 temps. Not massive. Ruiz again, not even remotely looking like he's trying to follow Lee Aberdeen in that draft. Jimenez has now gone down into 10th. Alexis de Klerk and Luca Varani are slowing each other up here. Varani needs to either clear de Klerk and get on his bike, or allow de Klerk to go through to try and get him onto the back of what seems to be a very struggling Tony Jimenez at this moment in time. In the mix down here, further down, Marcis Putnieks with Chris Trott in front of him. Then we've got Jeans Carvial with Marcello Kessler and Dom Lee in a mix further down. Adam Townsma has got Giovanni Solito closing on him. And even down here with Andy Flint, he's got Tommy Mare, Thomas Peter, Matt Brewer, Patrick Rowlands all in there as well. So battles are still materialising all the way through. De Klerk and Varani still going side by side. They're not really doing themselves any favours. There's a spinner there. That's Aguilera. Oh.
Yeah. On his own.
On his own. Yeah.
On his own. I was hoping he wouldn't be hit by his teammate because they were running nose to tail, weren't they? But yeah, just a spin on his own. And the way he backed into the wall as well. I hope he hasn't done himself any rear wing damage because he's continuing to fall through the field.
Yeah, he is, unfortunately, at the moment for Joel Aguilera, but I'm sure he will try and recover. All that hard work that he's done has just gone completely poof. Ruiz and Aberdeen, this time Ruiz is settled in. He's now pulled out a little bit earlier. Nope, still nothing doing. He still does not look like he is aggressive enough here, and that is the problem. I don't know if he's not purposely being aggressive enough. I don't think... I think what I'm getting from what Ruiz is doing here, Ewan, is just sitting in, keeping with Aberdeen, not really looking to make a move, and they're obviously still trying to extend the gap from Westman. Don't forget, obviously, with the results from last week, Westman had a great finish. So I think for him, Westman took the win. So they want to try and stay ahead of the man that won the race last week.
Yeah, and I think this is very much about waiting for the. And go back to what I said earlier on about 3 behind. I think that's a bigger focus for these two at the moment as well, because when you're 1 out of 5, it's a lot less of a chance of winning by the law of averages than a 1 out of 2. So while these guys are not actually battling but are just running in a train trying to catch the 2 leaders, I think it's worth the 2 leaders trying to keep them at bay no matter what Ruiz thinks about whether being first or second is ideal into the final lap of the race, because there's time to worry about that. There's still half this race to go. There's time to figure that out, but as soon as Westman gets into the slipstream, and he'll be involved in the battle, and that'll be it for the front 2.
Yeah, I think he will, and obviously we know the speed of Hakeem here, as Mackenzie Roon is in YouTube chat again. IGP and JPB broadcasting, perfect match, such great races so far. Mackenzie Roon here couldn't make today's race. Good luck to my teammate Raheem, who is sitting in 5th place currently. De Klerk and Varane, they're just attached like 2 pieces of Velcro at the moment. They're not separating at all. They're having a right little ding-dong further down here, but why they're doing that, they're not catching up with a man that clearly is struggling, as De Klerk again looks at making a move over Varane, and they're losing time to Tony Jimenez. They're 2.5 seconds now to Tony at front, so these guys probably really should, if they can, settle down just a little bit. Putnieks and Simon Fessy are having a right little ding-dong further back here as these guys continue to fight down. This is down in 13th, 14th and 15th. I do love the fact that there is just continual battles all the way through this field. This field is, as we said, nearly 40 drivers, and yet pretty much there's only probably about 10, maybe 11 that are not mixed up in a battle.
Yeah, and that's a great thing for us, of course, but it's also a view as to what this circuit is like. There's a lot of long straights, a lot of chances where you can slipstream and get past one another, or at least get close. So I think it says a lot about this circuit and the way that the final part of this race is going to be raced as well for the front 2. It's all about the slipstream for those 2.
Yeah. They're going to have to try and stay in front of each other. Brent Ruiz is still tucked in behind Aberdeen. They're going on now through turn 3 into 4. Not again changing positions. There is Simon Fessy. He's going to take the inside of Putnieks. Surely there's Putnieks on the left-hand side. Well, there he was. He was gone and quick as anything. And now Simon Fessy does go through. Chris Trott's in there. He's looking back to see what's happening as well. He seems to be biding his time, does Chris, waiting to see if anything happens with the 2 in front. Fessy cuts the nose off Putnieks. He dives for the inside, going round turn 4. Chris still sat there. I can tell you what, Simon Fessy was close there, Ewan, because he did literally dive for that inside apex to try and make sure he stayed in front of Putnieks to make sure to hold on to that position. But I can tell you now, Brent Ruiz and Lee Aberdeen are still nose to tail and still no further forward on each other, and that gap is still at 1.3 to Nicholas Westman.
And I think what you just described with Fessy there, by the way, just sort of illustrates what happened in towards turn 4, by the way. Such a small braking zone, such a wide entry, means that you can really throw it into that corner, and it's not really an overtaking chance like turn 1 is. That's where the chances really are. Lee Aberdeen clearly feels that Ruiz is going to have a go this time round. Is that the case or not? I think not in turn 1.
No, I think he's just waiting. I think he is waiting for something. I don't know what. I don't know. I don't know if he's waiting for his tyres to, whatever, for Lee Aberdeen's tyres to go off, or waiting for the last 5-6 laps maybe to have a go. But he is just not aggressive. And why that 1.3 seconds is maintaining to Westman behind, who's got nearly another second away. There's no reason for Ruiz to fight. If Aberdeen was holding him up, I fully understand it. But they are still going within the pace of most of the top 5 behind them. So nobody's really gaining anything. Nobody's really losing anything. And I think at the end of the day, you know, why they are where they are, does Ruiz really need to attack?
Well, I think not at this stage. I think he's better off staying behind and where he is at the moment, I've got to say, because there's still that looming threat of the 3 behind. Westman especially looks quick. He's been able to get rid of Evan Way now to the tune of about a second. So that's good news for him. In that case, he'll join up with these two and be involved in a 3-car battle if he can stay away and get on terms. But he's not going to get any closer if these two continue to run in tandem like this. He needs them to fight, really.
Yeah, he does, but I just don't think they're going to. I think Ruiz will just sit there, pull in what he needs to be pulled in, and then he'll come out, dive out again, there he goes, and that's it. Just nothing. He's allowing Aberdeen to take his line. He's not pressurising him into any of the corners, which, when you sit back and think of it, is you wish that others would be doing that. You know, Luca Varani, for instance, and de Klerk have nearly cost themselves 3 seconds to Tony Jimenez. Now, we saw Jimenez struggling, and they had a great opportunity, but they didn't do what Ruiz and Aberdeen are doing and staying where they are. So therefore, they've just lost time, and they've got to try and claw it back. But it's a lot to ask for Varani to go and pull along 3 seconds all on his own. Whereas if you look at the front two, they've just worked together, maintained that gap to to Westman, and that's it. That's all they've done.
Yeah, I think it's more difficult to be organised like that in a bigger group, though, in fairness to the guys further behind, because there's so many people who could do something. In this situation, it's only Brent Ruiz who really can make any move. There's nothing that Lee Aberdeen can do about it, really. But when you're behind, there's 5 drivers who can make a move or so. So I don't really blame any of them for doing that. And look at where it's got some of them. I mean, Reina Kim absolutely needed to make a move like that. Otherwise, he simply wouldn't be in 5th at the moment. It's about playing the race situation that's given to you, and there's not always an obvious answer to it.
No, I do fully agree. There isn't, and Ruiz is just doing the same. Out he goes, allows Aberdeen in, and they carry on. So we'll cut away. See how Hakimi gets on. He's climbing here, trying to get onto the back of Mr. Evan Way. We've got Jakub Oleswinski, and that is Clark Williams. Williams has been showing a great maturity this season. He's been really upping his pace, and his pace has really improved as the season's gone on. And I think Clark Williams has done an absolutely exceptional job this season. I think he's probably really improved. He's almost pulled out an Evan Way like Evan did last season here, and it's just improved, got better, and got the results that he needs, and it's really paying off for him.
Yeah, and it's fantastic to see. It really is an improving driver, that's for sure, over the course of the last few seasons, and there's plenty of those up and down the field. I've got to say the amount of drivers who are very much to the forefront of championship contention, even at this stage in the season, now that we're about to go 2/3 of the way through at the end of this race. It's really remarkable, and a great showing as to what everybody has been able to achieve over the course of their excuse me, over the course of their seasons here, and yes, it's a great mark of where everybody is now in such a close grid.
Yeah, absolutely. The times have been ever so close, and you see Hakeem now switched up behind Evan Way. He's not going to be interested in trying to move forward. He knows he needs to clear Way, and Way just allows him to go through. Again, that Mr. Consistent head on from Evan Way. He's just saying, okay, I'm here, you go, and I'll follow you. Let's see how close we can get to Westman, who is now literally there in the blue livery machine. Chris Trott has worked his way past Marcius Putnieks. They have just gone down the start-finish straight. Chris has just gone past him. Simon Fessi has opened up about a 2.7 second up the road, so these guys have clearly been fighting. Eddie Amos in that Tron liveried machine there with Marek Otlovs in front of him. Really, I love that livery, Ewan. It looks absolutely incredible.
It's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. 2 good liveries, actually, I've got to say. We're not going to be straining to see and remember who these two are in the future. We're going to pick them out of a crowd very easily. They both stand out indeed. But yeah, needs some sort of neon lights underneath, or whatever you call that.
Oh, yeah.
Ground pattern that cars used to have.
It's like that down glow, isn't it? Whatever, when they fit them underneath
Yeah,
it.
I can't remember what it was called.
I don't know. Mate, to be honest, I was very far away from being a boy racer, because when all that come in, I think I was like mid-20s or something. So, you know, and it definitely wasn't for me to go and do that and put that on and make myself with big bore exhaust going out the back, you know, and a bass system that shakes your tooth off. Brent Ruiz again doing the same thing. He's just not interested at this moment in time in taking the lead. Evan Way's not interested in going past the king. What about Oleszewski and Clark Williams? Well, Oleszewski is interested in going past Williams, and I think Williams again, just with that sensible, consistent racecraft head on, says okay, go for it, and that seems to be the pattern with the guys at the front at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be a change here, though, into turn 4, I would have thought. Oh, no. I thought there was going to be another change there, but there we go. So Oleszewski stays ahead for the moment, but once again, I think the best that these two can hope for is 6th place, and they're still feeling the effects of those early battles, and everyone in that big group certainly is, because it's very much restricted their finishing position, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree. I think there's going to be, over the next 5, like the final 4 laps, though, I feel it could get a little bit manic. Andy Flint and Joel Aguilera, both of these guys are trying to work their way back through the field here. They've swapped places 3 times already. This is going to be time number 4. Andy Flint does go through. He runs Aguilera out a little bit. Aguilera has got a teammate in Oscar Artinanu from the XPD Racing 2 team. Aguilera in the 1 team, and Flint manages to, well, I would say hold on, but they've been swapping backwards and forth, as I say, about 4 times. So Flint at the moment is in that 23rd place, but Aguilera is still making sure he doesn't. And this is quite interesting, actually, because there's a teammate of Andy Flint in Adam Talmsma, then there's Oscar Artinano, then there's Joel Aguilera, now there's Andy Flint. So it's like 2 teams of 2 here can help each other amazingly, depending on how they want to work together.
Yeah, very interesting to see that. Quite notable as well. It's been good in the last few years, that development of teams in this series. It's becoming a real big recognised thing, and it's good that we've got the liveries to match now too. So the battle will continue into turn 1 here. Aguilera's going to do well to hang on to this, and he won't. Down in towards turn 1, so another change as Aguilera tries to recover from that spin earlier on in the race.
Yeah, Aguilera still behind Andy Flint. It's been backwards and forwards. Oscar Artinano up the front there. While these guys are fighting, Artinano is slowly pulling away here. Flint's going to hug at the inside going into turn 4. He still manages to hold on. Now he wants to let the car come out so we can get the inside for turn 5. He doesn't. He's opened up the door, and it's lucky that Aguilera is not close enough at the moment. What is happening with Nicholas Westman and Evan Way? Evan Way has cleared Raheem Hakim, and I'm wondering,
oh,
there's damage there.
What is that? Something's flapping around. Oh, and it's gone. What is that?
I can't answer the question just yet. I'm patiently trying to find which would be the best camera angle here, because I'm not entirely sure what that is out the back of Hakim's car. That's his body cover, isn't it? Oh, side pod cover, isn't it? But how did...
Is that below what was previously being covered by that bodywork? Do we normally see that amount of...
Yeah, on the right-hand side, it's completely gone, look.
Ah, yes, it's gone.
Side pod's gone, yeah. Side pod's completely gone there. Now, the question is, well, how did it go?
Yeah, that was going to be my next question as well. Because we got past Evan Way without an argument, really. It wasn't in that initial overtake, but was there a second interaction between the two?
Oh, this is where they initially... This is back along on 3 laps. I don't think that's going to be the situation. I think it's going to be a lot further up than that one. I'm wondering if it was why we were watching Andy Flint's battle here. Did Hakim have a contact with Westman, and that's why there was such an issue on his car. Unfortunately, they are all the way back down in turn 12. We might have to hang on just for a minute to see what happened there. But I've never seen a side pod get ripped off quite like that as it has been here. So he is closing in. He's clearly used the draft. I know this is a long way back, so bear with us. We are just trying to show how this ended up, where it ended up here. We've got a funny feeling it could be on this lap as he's trying to clear Westman. Is there any contact? There's no contact there, so I'm not entirely sure.
It might not have happened yet. Let's see. Down here.
No.
Side to side.
Oh, there.
There.
Yep.
There you go. Yep, there.
So they got hooked together, and then the pod just comes off, and then all of a sudden it just butts it. There it goes, and off it goes. So that is what happened there with Hakeem and Westman, and why they come together. And he stopped, hasn't he?
Pitted.
Well, I would have thought.
Yeah, he's pitted.
Yeah. So there you go. Brent is probably keeping an eye on the gap behind. Hopefully when it opens up to 2-3 seconds he starts making moves. I believe so. I believe the word you're looking for is underglow. Is that right? When we were talking
I feel like that's not
No.
what I remember.
No, I don't.
Maybe there were different words for it across the world, to be honest.
But then again, that is my son and he is considerably younger, so maybe that's what the kids are using nowadays. I don't really know.
It's true, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not part of that anymore,
No, I don't know about the whole street cred as Hakeem has made his way through Chris Trott here. I am so far out of touch with that. I wouldn't even have a clue if you spoke to me about it, to be blatantly honest. Dom Lee with Machado Kessler fighting it out further down as well. Then Joel Aguilera and Adam Townsman now. So that was Andy Flint, but now Townsman has got Aguilera, who's going to sweep round the outside. He's going to have the inside for the next turn, and through turn 11, and Aguilera does go through. So great job from Joel Aguilera as he's looking to recover with Andy Flint. Now got Giovanni Salito for company. I'm wondering if something happened to Flint there, because Oscar Artinanu has had an incident, but did he end up taking anybody else with him? They made contact.
Not the first time he's been around today.
Nope.
Fortunately, Oscar Artinano. Let's see what happened this time.
Oh.
I think he's dived and missed the apex there, personally.
Yeah, and then the car's disappeared and lost his front wing, so that was quite bizarre as we're coming into the last 5. Now we're in the last 5. Is this where the action's going to take place? Is this what we're going to expect now for Brent Ruiz? He's got that 3.5 seconds that Mackenzie Roos talked about in YouTube chat. Are we thinking this is it? This is the moment?
I think he might still wait here, depending on whether he thinks waiting for the very end is the best idea. I'm not sure which way round he really thinks here. 5 to go now, and looks like we are starting to see a battle here as the gap has started to increase. Ruiz is starting to go for it.
Yep. We said the final 5.
A bit.
Yeah, he didn't make it through. He didn't make it through. I don't think he wants that outside line. Although if you can run the outside, you'll get the inside for turn 2, which is great. But then you're going to be on the outside for 3, which will give Aberdeen the inside for 4. You'll get the inside for 5. But that is, of course, if you're still alongside by that point. So, you know, I think Ruiz is playing it smart. He's played it smart all the way through the race. Do you want to doubt him now, Ewan, with 4 laps to go?
I don't know. I still think he's not really given this an attempt so far, to be honest with you. He was alongside that time round, but backed out of it very quickly. If he was really going for the win, really going for the lead, he would have given that a bit more of a go round the outside into turn 1 there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Townsman, Aguilera and Salito side by side going through here. Townsman did get back through on, if I'm not mistaken, on Aguilera. Aguilera passed Salito, so yeah, still fighting away. Andy Flint still just onto the back of this 4, so these 4 having a right little nice proper ding dong. Right, let's go up front and we'll see what we can get. Can we get Brent Ruiz making this move over Lee Aberdeen? I've got a funny feeling he's too far back at the moment as these guys continue to fight No, he's not going to make the move. He's too far coming out of 14. There's no way that's going to happen. What about Evan Way over Nicholas Westman? Again, too far back. Then we go to Simon Fessy with Dennis Cornu and see what happens here as they go running down the start-finish line as well. Are they going to make it through, or is he going to be too far back? I think if he's going to make a dive, he's got to make that dive soon. Again, lifted off there. Clearly lifted. What about Aguilera and Townsma? Well, no lifting there. They're side by side. Townsman's now got Andy Flint behind, but a little bit further back. This is going to be Townsman's move going through turn 12, through the final 13. Now it's all about this run down that long straightaway.
Yeah, look at the speed they can take through that final corner now. It's slam dunk if you're that close. And Townsman's going to be straight through here, but what a group they've got behind here, by the way. It is similar to the one we saw for about 6th earlier on in the race, actually. A very big group of drivers battling, although that'll end now. Oh dear.
I was going to say Andy Flint cleared Aguilera, and then Flint onto the curb, and Aguilera just rides him like a bucking bronco. There was somebody off to the side there. I'm thinking that might be Taparia has got off to the side of the circuit. I'll try and pick up if it was Taparia, but yeah, it was by the looks of it. He got caught up in this and had to take that evasive action away. How close was he? That would be the more of the question. Whoa.
Oh, he spun.
Yeah, he
was trying to avoid. He lost traction.
Yeah, he did, but Simon Fessy and Dennis Cornu have not. There's cars off on the gravel there.
That car.
Yeah. Why is Hakeem in 13? Oh, he went into the pits, didn't he? Yes, he did. So he went into the pits. And Westman's got Evan Way for company. So still battles. Final 2 laps here, Ewan. Who's your money on?
Evan Way's down the other side here, by the way. It's through. I think Aberdeen's going to hang on here. I think Ruiz is going to give it more of a go than we've seen previously in this race. However, I think Brent Ruiz is going to fail to actually make this move stick, because being second onto the final lap is a place where you can win from, but I think you can also defend from the front as well. It's not quite like Daytona where you want to be second. It's a little bit 50-50, but the odds are slightly in favour of the leading driver. Well,
and it's 4 attempts back. Unfortunately, he needs to now just carry as much as he possibly can. He starts getting into that draft. It's now free. I don't think he's close enough this lap, but I think he's going to have this one and one more to see what he can do. And can Brent Ruiz do anything? He's closing. He's waiting. He's still not aggressive.
And Lee Aberdeen's quite concerned about it, clearly, because he stayed defensive a lot longer than he needed to there. Maybe realising he could be on toast in the final lap if he's not careful. But there's not a lot he can really do about it from here.
No, it's not. It looks like Clark Williams is side by side, just as we picked up on Tony Jimenez. Williams is looking at making his way through into 6th place. Jimenez is down into 7th. Williams is going to have that inside. Jimenez just got no response. Can he hang it out now into 5? Are they going to be there? Jimenez is hanging it out. Williams has now got to try and go. No, didn't go back through there, did Clark Williams, but he's tried the undercut on him and it has worked. He's put himself in the front, going through turn 7 and 8. The leaders are coming down into turn 10. It is still Aberdeen and it is still Brent Ruiz, but Williams now up in front of Jimenez, and Ruiz is pressurising Aberdeen now. This is it. This is his final moment.
Yeah, look at Aberdeen changing his lines there just to try and put Ruiz off a little bit, try and get the best run he possibly can. It might have worked here. Ruiz got into the gravel slightly on the exit of the 3rd last corner there, and has that been enough to give Lee Aberdeen the advantage? It's a big margin here.
It's not close enough.
I don't know. You're right, he is not close enough. Ruiz has just got that wrong through the 3rd last corner. He's ruined his exit, and now Lee Aberdeen just has to take his lines to win the race, but it might not be quite so simple. There might be a chance into turn 4 here.
Yeah, well, out goes Ruiz. He runs up wide. We go back on board and not going to get it this time. through turn 4. Then we've got the left-hander of 5. He's running out of opportunities here, and I'm not quite sure where these opportunities are going to come from over this next 3/4 of a lap.
But he'll be furious with himself if he doesn't win this race. He had so many chances to go through. Admittedly, he may have been waiting for the last lap because he would have just got dragged past at the end. That might be possible, so he might not be kicking himself too much, but to not even take any of the chances must be really difficult to take.
I agree. I think he's just not really had any, and he's had so many opportunities that he should have been able to make it through on that one, and that's the thing. He just didn't make it, and he hasn't made it. We're going around turn 11. He's now going to try and pressurize him into 11. He's not going to get the job done here, and I think this is probably one that maybe he might kick himself. It looks like Aberdeen's going to come over. He's going to take the checkered flag. He's not far away from the line at all. It's halfway down the straight. There it is. Lee Aberdeen takes that victory, but how much is Brent Ruiz gonna sit back and think, I should have got him? Because he should have got him.
Yeah, I think he will be kicking himself up to that one, I'm afraid, Brent Ruiz. He had the chances to take the win there. He sort of put his sighters out, if you like, and clearly felt that waiting for the last lap was the best call. Well, I think he may come to regret that one, but as I said earlier, he may have just got drafted. If he overtook early, he might have just got drafted past again anyway.
Yeah, but I think that he really had more than that opportunity. I think there was plenty of more opportunities as Dom Lee comes over the line for him to make that move. And even if he'd gone backwards and forwards a couple of times, at least there would have been a move done. There just wasn't a move done at all.
Yeah, true. I don't know. It's going to be... He'll have to decide the outcome of that, but not good news at all. And Lee Aberdeen, as a result, will extend his championship lead to double figures, actually, after this race.
Yeah, he will. Patrick Rowlands is going to come over the line in 26th place. Maximilian Gerbart will be the last of these guys to take the checkered flag, and then we'll bring you up the results here of what went on in this one. I think we can safely say Brent Ruiz may have just kicked himself and may have just lost an opportunity for a win. But here we go. Lee Aberdeen does win by half a second. That does not at all reflect how much Brent Ruiz was closer at that point in second place. Evan Way gets third. Nicholas Westman gets fourth. Jakub Oleszwinski in fifth. Tony Jimenez in sixth. Clark Williams in seventh. So Jimenez did recover back after being down in, I think it was 10th or 11th at one point. Luca Varani in eighth. Pedro Suarez ninth. Alexis de Klerk in 10th. Dennis Cornu in 11th. Simon Fessi in 12th. Raheem Hakim in 13th. Marcis Putnieks in 14th. And Chris Trott all the way down in 15th place. Marek Otlovs in 16th, Eddie Amos 17th, Jeans Carvalho in 18th, then Marcello Kessler, Don Lee, Adam Townsend, Giovanni Salito, Owen Summerkins, Tommy Mare and Nick Carty round out the top 25. Then you got Patrick Rowlands, Maximilian Gerbart, Thomas Peter, Matt Brewer, Oscar Antinano and Joel Aguilera. They finished literally alongside each other after having a bit of a rough evening. Matthew Gracie in 32nd, Andy Flynn in 33rd, with Rishi Taparia in 34th, and Rino Scatini in 35th. Zoltan Zamota and Koji Ito were in 27th place. Then we got Dorian Arujo, who he only done one lap. John McKenzie did like 0.3 of a lap, and Patrick Williams didn't take to the start there. So great racing all the way through. Missed opportunity, I think, could be the way we could describe this one for Brent Ruiz.
I think so. As I say, I don't know how he's going to view this one, because some drivers have this sort of attitude of, well, he was going to win anyway. You know, not negative attitude, but, you know, there wasn't actually a lot I could have done anyway because too long out front and I would have got drafted past. That might be the thinking. So he might not be kicking himself too much, but I agree that there was chances for him to at least experience getting ahead and trying to defend, and he didn't take those chances. Clearly thought it was the best idea, but it's fine margins in this game, and that little bit of a tyre width he got onto the gravel on the way out of that final traction zone of the penultimate lap was essentially what undid the whole race.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree. Right, guys, that's going to wrap it up here this evening. Thank you so much to Leon and Mackenzie Roon and Sir Dryzen, or other known as Edward Parfitt, in the YouTube chat. Thank you so much for joining us up here in the booth. Don't forget, like, subscribe, turn on the bells, and do all that other fancy jazz. We're still not finished for the evening, as we've got the SR4S. They're visiting Catalunya as well. And the triple bypass Gem 4s are going to take on Darlington. So stay tuned for that. If you're a bit of a night owl, you can have a look of that one. But I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Ewan O'Leary, and as always from us up here at the JPB booth, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on a track sometime. Good night.